There's a quiet fear that lives in you, even if you rarely speak of it. It's the fear of being seen as weak. In the pit of your stomach, you sense that if others spot a frailty, they might exploit it. So you hide it, instinctively, like prey trying not to draw the predator's eye.
You remember the flush of shame when you showed vulnerability and someone smirked. Your heart thudding in your chest when a hostile gaze lingered on you, checking for cracks. From early on, you learned that showing hurt or fear often just invites more attacks. So you taught yourself to bury it deeper. Centuries ago, Machiavelli understood this cruel dynamic all too well. He wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few truly know what you are." In other words, appearance becomes reality in the minds of the many. Machiavelli's advice to rulers was blunt. Show no weakness. It's safer to be feared than loved, he argued, because fear guards your power. If people fear you, they hesitate to challenge you. The moment they sense weakness, that hesitation disappears and the knives come out. To them, your weakness is an open invitation to strike. History's shrewd rulers took this to heart. Kings staged elaborate displays of strength and confidence. They sat on elevated thrones, wore imposing crowns, spoke firmly, everything to signal dominance. A king who showed doubt or mercy at the wrong time often found rivals circling like vultures. One crack in the facade, and the throne could be at risk. This truth is more ancient than any kingdom. It's primal, animal. In the wild, predators watch for the frail and the wounded. A pack of wolves will test the herd, looking for a limping deer at the edge. The moment they spot one faltering, the hunt is on and blood will soon stain the grass. We humans carry those predator instincts within us in subtler ways. We haven't truly left the law of the jungle behind. Our battlefields are boardrooms, classrooms, social circles. When someone shows fear or uncertainty, certain people instinctively move in to assert dominance. It might not involve claws or teeth, but the underlying dynamic is the same. Think of the schoolyard bully scanning for an easy target. Who does he pick? The kid who averts his eyes, shoulders slumped, signaling defeat before a punch is thrown. Bullies almost smell that fear. Show a hint of it, a tremble in your voice, a flinch, and you become the designated prey. Their cruelty feeds on your visible insecurity. But stand tall and meet that bully's gaze, and something interesting happens. Even if your knees are shaking inside, projecting confidence can stall the attack. A steady glare, a firm stance, these can make the aggressor think twice. They start to doubt that you're prey. The predator hesitates when its target doesn't act like a victim. The same principle follows you into adulthood. Walking alone at night, you know to keep your head up and stride with purpose. Muggers and predators look for the distracted and timid. Act like you know where you're going, like you belong, and you're less likely to be chosen as a victim. In the workplace, this dynamic plays out in meetings and offices. If you always yield, apologize excessively, or speak with uncertainty, you signal that you can be dominated. Soon you find extra work dumped on you, or others taking credit for your ideas. Your reluctance to assert yourself reads as weakness to those hungry to advance. Contrast that with the colleague who assertively says no when necessary and speaks with calm authority. They might be disliked by some, labeled as tough or arrogant, but they are respected. People step more carefully around them. Their confidence creates a sphere of influence, an unspoken signal that they won't be an easy target. Machiavelli would nod at this, noting how naive goodness gets exploited. He warned that virtue without the cunning to protect it is a liability. Being honest and kind is admirable. But unless you cloak it with strength, a clever opponent will twist it to their advantage. Goodness in a position of weakness can become a trap. We see it in leadership roles too. A public figure who cries openly from stress or admits uncertainty can be humiliated by media and opponents. They might be humanizing themselves, but the public often responds with diminished confidence in them. Meanwhile, a leader who projects unwavering certainty, even if it's a facade, maintains a loyal following. Consider a high-stakes debate or presentation. The room is tense, all eyes fixated on the speakers. One slip, a stutter, a moment of confusion, and the audience's faith wavers. They might not even consciously know why, but they feel that drop in confidence. The opponent who stands unflinching gains an edge simply by radiating composure. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few feel what you are, Machiavelli said in The Prince. He knew people don't take the time to peer under the surface. They make snap judgments. Show them confidence, they assume you're competent. Show them a weakness, they assume you're unworthy. In business, the consequences of perceived weakness can be swift and brutal. Imagine a CEO who panics during a crisis call, voice quavering, unsure of answers. Investors lose faith, stocks tumble, employees start updating resumes. But if that CEO speaks calmly and assures everyone, "We have a plan," people hold on. Sometimes even if the plan is smoke and mirrors. It's not that lies are desirable, but perception is powerful. A leader's apparent confidence can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It buys time and cooperation. By the time reality catches up, the confident leader may have turned things around, or at least outlasted the crisis. The fearful leader, however, gets devoured by collective panic at the first sign of blood. Now shift to the personal sphere, the domain of friends, acquaintances, and the countless eyes of social media. Here too you sense the unspoken rule. Don't show the cracks. Your social feeds are carefully curated. You share achievements, smiles, and highlights, rarely moments of despair or weakness. You know why. Share a failure or heartbreak, and you might get sympathy. But you also risk something else. Some will look at you differently, quietly marking you as someone faltering. Online, attention gravitates to those who seem to be winning, not those openly struggling. So you stick to showing only the side of yourself that will be judged favorably. Everyone around you is doing the same performance. Influencers, colleagues, even friends craft an image of near perfection. Success without effort, happiness without doubt. Projecting invulnerability seems to boost social currency. And nobody wants to be the one with a post that screams vulnerability amid a feed of shiny accomplishments. Think about job interviews or first dates, the times you most want to impress. When asked about your weaknesses, you spin them into strengths, or you dodge the question. You dress yourself in confidence like armor, hiding nerves and insecurities behind steady handshakes and practiced smiles. Because if you don't, you fear the opportunity will slip away in an instant of honesty. By now, it's clear that hiding weakness is almost a social reflex. We do it to protect ourselves, to influence others, to survive and succeed. But what happens beneath the surface of this survival strategy? What toll does this constant vigilance take on your mind and soul? Psychologically, denying your weakness means denying a part of your truth. You force painful emotions into the basement of your mind and lock the door. Yes, you appear strong upstairs, but the fear and hurt don't vanish. They linger and fester in the dark, unaddressed and unresolved. Living on constant guard takes a physical toll as well. Your muscles tense when you hold back tears. Your breath is just a bit shallower when you speak carefully to avoid a quiver. Day after day of this, and your body begins to carry the weight of those unshown feelings. Tight shoulders, knots in your stomach, restless sleep. The armor gets heavy. Then there's the emotional isolation. If you never show weakness, you also never truly let people in. Friends might admire you, call you strong, but do they really know you? You fear that if you let someone see your frailties, they'll think less of you. So you keep that wall up and remain a step removed. Even among those you love, reflect on a time you were hurting inside but still smiled through it. Maybe at a family gathering, you were heartbroken. Yet when someone asked how you were, you flashed a bright, "I'm fine." You played the role of the cheerful, strong one, even as a storm raged inside. By doing so, you shielded others from your pain and yourself from their judgment. Outwardly, you succeeded. No one saw you crumble. You might have even been praised for how well you were handling things. But inwardly, that experience was searing. You felt hollow, isolated in your suffering. There was no outlet for your real feelings, so they echoed within you. You survived the moment, but at the cost of pushing your pain deeper down. Machiavelli's law cares nothing for your inner turmoil. It measures success only in power and stability. By that measure, you did the right thing, showed no weakness, and preserved your standing. Yet you're also a human being, not just a position or persona. And human beings need their pain acknowledged, their fears and softness validated, at least in some quiet corner of life. Here lies the paradox you live with. To guard yourself from external harm, you inflict a kind of internal wound. You become invulnerable to others' attacks, but more vulnerable to your own emptiness. You save face, but perhaps lose a bit of your peace in the process. It's a trade-off that cuts both ways. The mask of strength becomes both your protection and your prison. Picture a warrior on a battlefield surrounded by wolves. He knows if he even winces, the pack will sense blood and attack. So he wears a fearless mask and fights on, never revealing the burning pain from his wounds. Only when the battle pauses and the warrior is alone does he dare remove that mask. Under the armor, he is bruised and bleeding. In the silence, he finally acknowledges the agony he kept hidden. Perhaps he even wonders how much longer he can keep this up. But by dawn, as the world awakens, the mask is back on, his face impassive once more. If he ignores those wounds too long, something will break. The mask will crack under the strain. We often see powerful people have startling breakdowns, a public collapse, a scandal, an outburst. Proof that the facade was fracturing under pressure. The weakness they buried demanded to be seen at last, forcing its way out in destructive fashion. How many times have you heard of a famous person who seemed to have it all together, only to discover they were battling demons in private? The public is shocked, but they looked so strong, so confident. That shock only proves how well the mask worked, and how completely we trust appearances. Their humanity didn't vanish. It was just concealed until it burst at the seams. Bring this closer to home. Consider what those around you would be shocked to learn about you. Perhaps you've had panic attacks behind closed doors, or nights of despair, all while presenting a composed front by day. They'd never imagine it, because you make sure they see the capable, untroubled version of you. They see your armor, not the wounds beneath. None of this means Machiavelli was wrong about the outside world. In fact, he was right. outward strength spares you from many opportunistic attacks. Had you broken down publicly in those moments, some would have taken advantage or written you off. Your discretion protected you in a society that can be as callous as any wolf pack. Think of the times your controlled exterior saved you, when you were terrified but refused to show it, and thus got through the danger unscathed. When you were grief-stricken but held it together at work and kept your job because of that composure. That was Machiavellian pragmatism in action. Painful, perhaps, but effective. There is a certain power in knowing you can do this. To control your outward reactions in the face of chaos is a kind of superpower in our judgmental world. You've used it to protect yourself and maybe those you care about, steering through crises by sheer will. That strength is real, even if the confidence was partly an act. But every superpower has its price. Think of it as a double-edged sword. The blade facing outward frightens enemies. The blade facing you can cut your hand. Each time you cut off your true feelings to appear strong, you sever a piece of your authenticity. Over time, those severed pieces collect in the dark, becoming the very weaknesses you dread. Carry hidden wounds long enough, and they may harden into bitterness or despair. Some people become hollow behind their confident persona, having lost track of who they are without the mask. Others grow cold, their empathy dulled because they've denied themselves any softness. In trying to be invulnerable, they sacrifice their vulnerability completely, and with it, a part of their humanity. So what is the answer? It would be naive to say just drop the mask in a world still full of predators. If you bared every weakness to everyone, you know what would happen. Some might show compassion, but others would seize the chance to strike. The harsh reality is that not everyone will be gentle with your vulnerability. On the other hand, living forever behind armor is its own kind of misery. You may survive that way, yes, but what are you surviving for? A life without genuine connection or the peace of ever letting your guard down can feel painfully empty. Unrelenting strength can become a cage as confining as any weakness. Maybe the way forward is a razor's edge of discernment. Show no weakness where it isn't safe, among those who would weaponize it against you. But find those rare people or places where you can lay down your weapons and be seen, wholly, without fear. Even the fiercest warrior needs a sanctuary to tend to his wounds. Machiavelli's law of power remains as cold as ever. To stay in control, you must project strength. Make them judge by the eye, not by the heart. Let them see confidence, resilience, control. That display is the currency the world understands and respects. In public, your shield stays up. When you're alone, though, face yourself without that shield. Acknowledge the fears and hurts that live within you. Name them, feel them, tend to them like wounds that need care. Because if you don't, they will fester and find a way to sabotage you from the shadows. This is the balance to strive for. Outwardly fierce, inwardly honest. It's not easy. Walking this line is like walking a tightrope over an abyss. It demands you be two people at once, the guarded survivor and the self-aware soul. But perhaps that is the price of surviving in a world that demands strength while your heart still longs for truth. And remember that fear cuts both ways. Yes, instilling a bit of fear in others can shield you from attack. But never let the fear of being seen as weak turn into a fear of knowing yourself. Don't become a stranger to your own pain, even if you hide it from the world. By now you understand that show no weakness is both a weapon and a burden. It shields you from external threats, but you carry its weight always. Many bear it for years without realizing how it has shaped their posture and spirit. Now you see it, and with that sight comes a responsibility for what you do next. Think back on your own life with this clarity. Recall the times you swallowed your tears and put on a brave face. The times you felt terrified inside, yet acted unbothered. You did it to survive, and it likely worked. But it also left its mark on you. Now you stand before the mirror, staring into your own reflection. One face is your disguise, the other, your truth. Both belong to you. This is your silent reckoning with power. So tell me, when was the last time you buried your weakness just to make it through? Leave one brutally honest sentence below.